Eric Levenhagen here, guiding you down the true path to financial harmony. I read something interesting in a forum of business owners online recently, and it said this: I like my accountant, but how much does it really cost to get your tax returns filed? And they were essentially price shopping or seeing if what they were getting charged was in line. And so look, I see questions like this come up in forums all over the place. I'm going to give you a straightforward answer that really benefits any service provider out there, and that is this. For any service that you provide, but I'll give the example of tax returns here, there is no going rate. I'll say that again, there is no going rate. I learned this several years ago in some industry meetings conducted by a couple of consultants. They gave a set of facts about a client and asked a room full of accountants, how much would you charge to prepare this tax return? And they conducted this experiment all across the country and came up with some really surprising results. The accountants' answers were all over the board. Right? They got price ranges from $100 to $2,000 for what you may consider a fairly simple personal tax return. You may think that a CPA in California or New York or somewhere like that may have charged more than somebody in Iowa or Michigan. Nope. It wasn't the complexity of the return or the preparer's location that was what seemed to influence the answer. What was the real issue then? It was all based on that service provider's confidence in charging a higher fee. Now, why is this important to you? Because the same rule, the same concept applies to any service provider in any industry. And I'll say it a third time because it bears repeating, there are no going rates. The true value of the services that you provide are tied directly to the results that you provide for your clients or patients. The bigger problem that you solve for people, the less price becomes relevant. So, case in point, think about if you went to the hospital because of stomach pains. The doctor says, we need to do emergency surgery and remove your appendix, otherwise you could die. Are you going to stop and ask the surgeon how much the surgery costs? Or try to negotiate with the hospital to get a better deal? Maybe you want to ask around to a few other surgeons and compare proposals for a few weeks before you get to your answer. I mean, this sounds ridiculous when we put it into that context. Of course, you're not going to do any of those things when it's a matter of life and death. So do you see how the severity of the problem just made the price irrelevant? And this still applies even if you don't deal with life and death circumstances. We know a tax return isn't life or death. Any service provider has the ability to improve the quality of life for the people that they serve. And that's where this all boils down to. So as a financial consultant, I have the good fortune to be able to quantify results for our clients with numbers. We start out with that and then get to the qualitative aspects as well. But we guarantee for the right clients to find at least $30,000 in missing profits and unnecessary taxes in 1 year, guaranteed. What is that really worth? I mean, you can look at this a couple of different ways, right? Imagine you went to a casino and they were playing this new game where you put down $5 and you won $10 every time, guaranteed. Like, how long would you play that game? I'd play it until they kicked me out, okay? If I could get enough repetitions in an hour or so. But I mean, look at it another way. What's an extra $30,000 worth to you in your practice right now? That's an after-tax number. So to generate it on your own, you'd have to make closer to typically $50,000 pre-tax. It's assuming a 40% combined federal and state income tax on your earnings. So $50,000, and those are net earnings. So you had to incur expenses to produce those earnings in your practice. Most companies shoot for an average 20% profit margin. So to generate $50,000 in net profit pre-tax at a 20% margin, you had to produce $250,000 in revenue. So what are those $30,000 worth of savings really worth to you now? How long is it going to take you to produce $250,000 in revenue? For most of our clients, it takes them much longer to produce that level than it does for me to save them the $30,000. And so there's the value, right? Shortening the learning curve, and in this case, the earning curve, helping them reach their financial goals faster than what they could have on their own. So how does this apply to you in your practice? You need to be in tune with how your service affects the lives of your clients, your patients, or your customers. It's not a few minutes of your time that they're buying. It's your knowledge, your expertise, and the result that you provide. In the case of shopping around for an accountant, ask yourself, what result do you really want? Do you want someone who's only going to file your tax returns once a year and then kind of disappear, but at least you got the lowest price? Or do you want somebody who's going to help you reach your goals faster by driving profitability and reducing taxes? I think the answer is obvious.